2003, following the signing of the Accra Comprehensive Peace Accord, Liberia has achieved significant progress towards security sector reform and governance. Key institutions such as the Liberian National Police and the Armed Forces of Liberia have been reformed with support from the international community, and several security-related legislation have been enacted to promote effective governance of the security sector, including the development of Liberia's national security strategy. The government has also developed policies to foster national reconciliation, decentralization, higher degree of civil liberties, land reform, and the inclusion of women in decision-making process at all levels. The peaceful presidential and legislative elections in 2011, 2014, and 2017, with the recent election of George Weah as president and the 54th legislature taking oath in January 2018, connote some level of democratic maturity. Liberia needs to build upon this positive momentum, especially since the country is still faced with numerous security challenges such as corruption, human rights violations, armed robbery, mob violence, ethnic tensions and land-related conflicts, drug trafficking, threats of terrorism, and protests over government's handling of the economy. The national legislature plays a central role in effectively tackling these issues. Through its main functions of lawmaking, oversight, and representation, it is responsible for shaping public policy and promoting good security sector governance by ensuring a transparent and accountable security sector, the efficient use of public funds, and the effective monitoring of key security institutions. Liberian legislature have, however, been prevented from fully exercising these core functions due to various shortcomings. This particularly applies to the security-related committees' weak infrastructure and budget, lack of dedicated support staff, and training in security sector governance. To tackle this issue, UNDP requested DCAP's assistance in developing and implementing a project to support the 54th Liberian legislature in performing its core functions. One of the key aspects the project is focusing on is to prevent institutional memory loss. Unlike the practice within the executive branch wherein handover mechanisms have been developed to ensure that the outgoing president provides detailed handover notes to the incoming president, the legislature does not have in place handover mechanisms to facilitate the transmission of critical information from outgoing to incoming legislators. Handover mechanisms are essential as they provide incoming legislators with valuable information regarding issues, progress, and challenges faced by committee members during their term in office. In an effort to address this challenge, former committee members have agreed to take part in a lessons sharing process with newly elected members, including collecting key tips for incumbents and documenting good practices through the short interviews that are compiled in this short film.
Well, I think people need to pay more attention to ensuring that people are given training regularly that will be able to serve the various committees in order to make the legislature effective at the end of the day for the good of the country. So I think training is a key. If the members of the committees do not understand what they ought to do, it will be difficult to effectively exercise oversight. For example, take what we call defense budgeting. If you don't understand the sector, you cannot exercise oversight because people will be telling you terminology you're not familiar with, blanket terminology like military hardware, and we're having X amount. How do you go into your oversight when you don't even understand the sector? So it's very key that people with some expertise should be able to man those committees in order to have effective oversight.
Well, the legislature itself needs to be trained in terms of the way it can go about exercising its oversight. I think if individual members of the legislature get that training, then they will know what exactly to do and how to go about doing that. I think that's where some of the problem was. So it would be a good thing if the security sector, those that are having oversight responsibilities, have some training package to help them understand the security sector reform processes.
First and foremost, those sent to committees, specific committees, for example, the Committee on Security, Defense, and Intelligence, will be knowledgeable. They will be knowledgeable in the law. They should know the laws of Liberia. They should have prior knowledge in the area. You see, you cannot exercise oversight on an agency or apparatus that you have no knowledge of. It will be like you there and just there to occupy the space. Every month, at the end of every month or so, we had briefing. I know the deputy minister of defense or the chief of police or their destinies always came. What are the challenges? What is the status of the security sector? How many presidents have you trained? Because we started with the training, the recruitment, the training, and the SSR, the law, the the different legislations that govern the security sector, we were very, very basic. Because Liberia's problem from the onset was that the security sector was not democratized. It was executive driven. So our centric concentration, the 52nd, the Committee on Security Defense, was on the laws that will govern the army, the laws that will govern the police, the laws that will govern the security sector should be democratic. There are three cardinal A's a legislator must know. When you are elected, there are three A's. The first A is your authority. One our legislator, one role. And that role is the authority given you by the Constitution. That authority is what you use. In extension of that authority, you do rules. Your ability, there where you know how it comes in. You gotta have the ability. You gotta have the aptitude, because you will see them people from the executive, actors from the executive are all very educated people. And then the last A is your attitude. But you must have some expertise, and you must try to read the law, read the Constitution. You get one thing that gave you the only power you got is that Constitution, and the authority you get to deal with the executive and the judiciary comes from that Constitution. You must be able to read it, dissect it, and understand it.
To be able to oversight a particular situation, you must be knowledgeable. All right, here we are. We were non-security personnel, but we were placed according to maybe our status, and now basically having the knowledge as to how you can oversight parliamentarily. Others will fight for committee because of what they will get. On the National Security Committee, you're not going to get anything. Okay? What you're going to do is to ensure that laws or the activities of that sector benefits the people to be able to sustain the peace. So I will advise current committees to remain engaged with all the security sectors, whether it is the army, the police, the immigration, the drug agency, remain engaged with them, draw a periodic plan, okay, for you to interact. It shouldn't be at the budget time. The most time, the only time committees work with sectors that they have business with is around the budgetary period, where they will come to them for budgetary support. But I think it should be periodic. Maybe you can say every 2 months, you meet and review those, and let them give you an update on what is the present situation security-wise in the country.
One thing I think they need to do in terms of canvassing, most of our people don't understand the role of legislators. And some of us, when we go to the campaigns, we do promises, things are outside of our control. That we'll do this, we'll do this, we'll do this. And the only thing that you have is your oversight responsibility.
In May of 2001, signed a second of two executive orders, number 13213, Defense Exhibit D310, in which it was stated, and I quote, "The government of Liberia's complicity in the RAUF's illicit trade in diamonds and its other forms of support for the RAUF are direct challenges to the United States foreign policy objectives in the region, as well as the rule-based international order that is critical to the peace and prosperity of the United States. Therefore, I find these actions by the government of Liberia contribute to the unusual and extraordinary threat to the foreign policy of the United States described in Executive Order 13194, with respect to which the President declared a national emergency. This executive order did not say the alleged complicity, it concluded the complicity. The conspiracy was born, all systems put into motion, and here I stand today. I never stood a chance. This is the broader contextual matrix that regrettably did not and still has not seen the light of day in these proceedings, despite the gallant efforts by the defense to unearth and reveal the contextual framework behind the charges against me. Now, with the two executive orders, the dogs were let out, so to speak. What followed was a dispatch of the attack pack led by Lieutenant Colonel David Crane, Defense Intelligence, 30 years, prosecutor. He, Crane, unlawfully unsealed the court's sealed indictment to his handlers, senior U.S. government officials at the U.S. Embassy in Freetown, and was never held to account. The rest of the operational team are Colonel Brendan Hollis, Defense Intelligence, CIA, U.S. Air Force, Senior Trial Counsel, and Armed Prosecutor. James C. Johnson, U.S. Army expert, 20 years on conventional and special operations, Chief of Prosecutions for the SCSL. Alan White, 30 years Defense Intelligence, recalled from retirement to head up investigations at the Special Court of Sierra Leone. Stephen J. Rapp came on board as Chief Prosecutor for a short time with experience from Capitol Hill, where he served with the U.S. Senate Judiciary Committee sometime before. It came as no surprise to me that as a reward of sorts for Stephen Rapp's diligence in the execution of U.S. foreign policy objectives, through these ad hoc tribunals, he was appointed U.S. Ambassador at large for war crimes issues. In support of the contextual President George W. Bush, in May of 2001, signed a second of two executive orders, number 13213, Defense Exhibit D 310, in which it was stated, and I quote, "The government of Liberia's complicity in the RAUF's illicit trade in diamonds and its other forms of support for the RAUF are direct challenges to the United States foreign policy objectives in the region, as well as the rule-based international order that is critical to the peace and prosperity of the United States. Therefore, I find these actions by the government of Liberia contribute to the unusual and extraordinary threat to the foreign policy of the United States described in Executive Order 13194, with respect to which the President declared a national emergency. This executive order did not say of 2001, signed a second of two executive orders, number 13213, Defense Exhibit D 310, in which it was stated, and I quote, "The government of Liberia's complicity in the RAUF's illicit trade in diamonds and its other forms of support for the RAUF are direct challenges to the United States foreign policy objectives in the region, as well as the rule-based international order that is critical to the peace and prosperity of the United States. Therefore, I find these actions by the government of Liberia contribute to the unusual and extraordinary threat to the foreign policy of the United States described in Executive Order 13194, with respect to which the President declared a national emergency. This executive order did not say the alleged complicity, it concluded the complicity. The conspiracy was born, all systems put into motion, and here I stand today. I never stood a chance. This is the broader contextual matrix that regrettably did not and still has not seen the light of day in these proceedings, despite the gallant efforts by the defense to unearth and reveal the contextual framework behind the charges against me. Now, with the two executive orders, the dogs were let out, so to speak. What followed was a dispatch of the attack pack led by Lieutenant Colonel David Crane, Defense Intelligence, 30 years, prosecutor. He, Crane, unlawfully unsealed the court's sealed indictment to his handlers, senior U.S. government officials at the U.S. Embassy in Freetown, and was never held to account. The rest of the operational team are Colonel Brendan Hollis, Defense Intelligence, CIA, U.S. Air Force, Senior Trial Counsel, and now prosecutor. James C. Johnson, U.S. Army expert, 20 years on conventional and special operations, Chief of Prosecutions for the SCSL. Alan White, 30 years Defense Intelligence, recalled from retirement to head up investigations at the Special Court of Sierra Leone. Stephen J. Rapp came on board as Chief Prosecutor for a short time with experience from Capitol Hill, where he served with the U.S. Senate Judiciary Committee sometime before. It came as no surprise to me that as a reward of sorts for Stephen Rapp's diligence in the execution of U.S. foreign policy objectives, through these ad hoc tribunals, he was appointed U.S. Ambassador at large for war crimes issues. In support of the contextual framework of politics, on February 8, 2006, Lieutenant Colonel David Crane, prosecutor, appeared before a U.S. Congress Subcommittee on Africa, Defense Exhibit D404, and spelled out in clear terms the decision taken in support of regime change in Liberia and what needed to happen to solidify that process. There was little mention, if any, in his testimony about Sierra Leone. And here is what he said. I posit that 5 years from now, when the international community is challenged by other crises, Taylor, in Calabar, under the protection of Nigeria, will make his move. We will wake up one morning and watch on CNN as Taylor rides triumphantly down the main street in Monrovia to the executive mansion, daring all of us to come and get him. Unless he is handed over to the Special Court for Sierra Leone, this scenario is not out of the realm of possibilities. He then asked, how do we assure Liberia's future? And he answers that. Ultimately, he says, what we do about Taylor in the next several weeks will determine the fate of Liberia and the new administration of its president, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Crane then sets out several plans, two of which I'll state here. He said, first, hand Charles Taylor over to the Special Court for Sierra Leone for a fair trial, his kind of trial. This takes him out of the local and regional dynamics that is West Africa. Second, tie any financial and political support to good governance in Liberia. Time does not permit, but the exhibits are present. Not even the Nigerian nation was spared from threats and intimidation, as explained by Fani Kayode, Press Secretary to President Obasanjo, the Nigerian head of state, who was with him in Washington when President George W. Bush promised, and I quote, to bring Nigeria to its knees if Taylor was not turned over to the special court. And what happened? Obasanjo buckled and capitulated. Now, this demonstrates the significant pressure that was brought to bear on President Obasanjo, irrespective of his personal and leadership obligations to the West African sub-region. And therein lies the dilemma for current African heads of state and government, but how to enter into binding commitments and obligations with the African pairs and remain steadfast, resolute, and unyielding in their fidelity to those agreements in the face of such unrelenting and punishing pressure from powerful Western leaders.
Joining. How did I get there? How did I reach that far? My story begins with an unlikely prophecy. A few days after I was born, an old man proclaimed to my parents, "This child will be great." And I've had to shoulder that lofty expectation all my life. First for my parents, then for my country, and now for the next generation of leaders. My childhood started out as a privileged one. My parents were both of indigenous roots, but my father held an elite position as the legislature's first native member. My siblings and I lived in the city, attended school there, and would spend our summers in my family's village with our mother and grandmother. We spent our vacation enjoying nature, practicing traditional farming, swimming, fishing in a nearby stream, picking wild fruits and flowers. Our father became ill early on and passed away by the time I was 7, leaving my mother to care for 4 children, a teacher and a preacher. Our mother became an anchor for all of us. I watched as she embraced hard work with a singular focus to see us succeed. She instilled humility, honesty, and determination to ensure that we knew the value of what it takes to make life. Today, I firmly believe that I am where I am and can continue the hard work ahead because of the lessons and the values she instilled in me. I graduated high school and married at 17 years old. I dedicated the next decade of my life to my husband. I bore 4 sons in 3 years and watched my former peers advance in school and their careers. Meanwhile, my marriage was turbulent.
did not want to leave this country. I can say I am being forced into exile by the world's superpower. I have decided to leave because, for the first time in the history almost of the world, the United States is using food and other things as a weapon against the Liberian people. Because if the administration of President Bush says that they will not step on this soil and will do nothing as long as I'm here, this further threatens your survival as a people. And as I have said, I can no longer see you suffer. The suffering is enough. But you are good people. You've been very good to me through the grace of God. And I love you from the bottom of my heart. I will always remember you wherever I am. And I say to you, God willing, I will be back. God bless you and save the state. If that is the challenge, I challenge George Bush. With due respect, Mr. President, please, you are a man of God, do something for our people. That this period, and as we go, that they will say that something good was done. This must not, please, and should not be a publicity stunt. It must be for real now. Liberia is bleeding. Liberia raped by foreigners. Guineans, Sierra Leoneans are cutting the breasts of women. They're cutting the hearts out of people and eating them on camera, Mr. President. You must help Liberia now.
So you call somebody the other side, but why you want to know in that man? God love is like the Lord. Where you want to go? I
Appeals Commission are expected to divulge what they know. We're looking at your personal role, we're looking at institutional roles. So please be informed of that. And I should start by asking, first of all, when did you join the MPFL? And how old were you when you joined the MPFL?
That's my answer.
How old were you when you joined the MPFL?
I said I was in pain and I was so dragged.
I don't understand that.
You're supposed to be a lawyer, right?
I'm not a lawyer.
You're not a lawyer? It means I was of age. I was reasonable, I was conscientious.
When did you join the MPFL? What year?
1990.
So you, from what you're saying, that you were 18 years old and above when you joined the MPFL?
I was Sue Giras and I was in pain. Thank you.
Were you 18 years old?
I was Sue Giras.
Or above?
I consider fraud. You explain.
I'm not a lawyer. Please answer me.
I was in pain. I was of age. I was under the law. When you're Sue Giras, you take responsibility for yourself. That's what I mean.
Thank you.
Are you getting ready to contact my age? And don't ask me about my age. Because I don't ask you about your age. Don't ask me about my age. A personal, you ask the Sue Giras. You can ask the lawyer if you know it. You can ask me say, and you're 18 years old, 19 years old.
Every witness appearing here is under obligation to provide biographical details, and we ask those questions.
Go ahead. That's why I say, answer you. I'm not an ordinary person. You understand my perspective, graduate of the law school, so I speak based on my status. If you understand that, you ask the lawyer. That's all you need to do, my young man. That's all you need to do.
I ask you, so you answer. I'm not asking the lawyer, I'm asking you.
Go ahead with your questions. I hope you know that you didn't come here for me today. Because if I show you my other side, you'll not like it.
Mr. Witness.
Chairman, brother.
Yes, sir.
I got a higher respect for this office and the commission. But let me tell you something. I'm a Liberian, and I believe that I've been listening to the process. Anybody in the country who feel that they can threaten people or humiliate other people, trust me, I'll be an exception. Today, I'll be an exception.
Very well, Commissioner Boo. Commissioner Boo.
100%. Oh, trust me. Woman, don't only because you're a lawyer, but because you're a woman, your mother, I respect you.
I just wanted to say one
thing. I deal with people who don't stand on my left foot. Now I gotta tell you here. And I see it on my clear heart. Now I said from the beginning there's not Rabino. Anybody deal with me, deal with me. It's the way you want me to deal with you. Trust me. If you take my other side, I'll take the other side. Maybe you gotta find one writing or go to pay. You know go to pay? You take the small iron, you put the rubber, and you stick it on my ear. Then I will hear you.
Okay, Mr. Witness.
Very much prepared for you.
I heard you saying young man. I would prefer we continue to be formal.
And the reason why you tell commissioners, they only panel here to bring peace to the country, not to humiliate anybody. Because me, I'm an exception. Nobody who not call you can look at me and try to can't talk to me like a boy. I don't know about the boy. You must tell the John Stewart. Dang.
I agree with you. We should maintain respect mutually.
100% I will do that.
Thank
you. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Witness, where were you trained when you joined the MPFL?
I'm sorry that you were here. To my brother, in his opening statement, I was trained in Buchanan. So I'm not responsible for you being late.
Mr. Witness, where were you trained? What kind of training did you take? And what was your assignment following your training?
I worked for the MPFL from 1990. I participated in combat. I participated in other areas of work. I think it is your responsibility about paying you the money, that one with legislator and paying you the money, paying you to send people to go investigate and find out. Chairman.
Yes.
Chairman, you must tell a man.
Chairman, I don't have to take
a particular man.
I don't have to take insult from the witness. He's on the stand. He has no right to insult.
Nobody insulting you. You're very insulting. You're very insulting. You don't talk about God. You think I've been a kind of
all right.
You get paid for the family cost in the country. You go down there, you can stay. You can tell me what you're telling me. Don't be a Tito to me. I don't laugh when you be like a Tito.
You have no right to insult me.
You are standing.
Okay,
I'm the commissioner, but that man's probably got to do
When he insult me, I walk out. I don't have to take it.
No, he will not insult you.
But you have to take charge. He can't insult me. He's on my obligation to answer. Oh. If you want to fight, then go outside. He challenge me in the street.
For who?
No. That's why you want.
Who you want for?
But they come here for that. You came here to answer questions. You're asking questions you're supposed to answer. And he wants to attack my person, let him do it outside of this forum. Oh.
Witness.
Mr. Witness, I beg your indulgence. Mr. Witness, all we want is for you to respond to the question.
Thank you, General.
Your answer is your answer.
Thank you very much.
No one here will want to compel
Thank you very much.
to
Thank
say
you.
what you don't want to say.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Commissioner Kumar.
Lesson here.
Testing. Thank you. Mr. Witness, thank you very much for sharing with us. Sorry that I did not come at the beginning when you spoke and gave the full statement. So if any of my questions you feel were already answered by you, you can just tell me that and I'll refer to the tape later. You don't have to bother. I will start off by making a small statement. Many thought that by means of violent revolutionary strategy, they could change the unjust leaders of the past and thus liberate the people of Liberia from social economic injustice. However, the reality has shown us that such a strategy of violent revolutionary change without a revolutionary transformation of cultural values, norms, and heart only changes the players without resolving the injustice. Here we are today after 30 years of fighting with each other, with new players, but still unjust, unloving, and confused with each other as we were prior to the progressives taking the stand. Yet, we have lost over 30,000 of our beloved citizens needlessly. We've destroyed and looted our basic infrastructure for no national benefit. It appears our only one benefit has been the rise of a multi-party, quasi-democratic system. Could we not have done this without the bloodshed? I say all of this to let you know that the real victor of our Liberian civil war has been the devil. Now God is crying, asking his true children to wake up and start a non-violent revolutionary struggle to kick evil rooted in selfishness out of our government and leadership class as the basis of liberating the people. You, being a member of this post-war leadership class, what do you have to say about this state? Does it make sense? Our challenge now in the aftermath of the struggle is not to continue the blind, empty struggle, but to enter the road of true transformation and cultural values and norms. So, Mr. Witness, that's my statement. I would like to now ask you your opinion on that.
You the Reverend Gerald Comer?
Yes.
For the benefit and for the respect of the commission as an institution and the listening public, let me just apologize for maybe what happened here just now. But you know what? So they need hard medicine. Tell me to tell you the truth. I got people like you, people that our mentor, our Councilor Federal, Councilor Puna, people who really want peace. But let me tell you something, me, at the hard looking. When you problematic, I'll look at you in your face and tell you. So I'm sorry for the way things went just now. I'm sorry. There's a young man who was here. His husband was talking when I came late at the first thing. The man already told us our dream began. He asked me to say our dream began. And so the fighting started, and President Doe was wounded in the leg, and Harrison Pennon and others were killed in the battle. And Doe was taken to my base to face questions. By this time, the interim government of national unity has already been organized in the Gambia. Doe was captured September 9. The interim government was put together before that time. and they had left Gambia and they came to Sierra Leone to await the dismiss of Doe. Because there was no way for that ECOWAS-backed interim government led by Emma Sawyer, there was no way that government would have taken seat in Monrovia had Doe not been removed. And I was the instrument that they used. The Interfaith Mediation Committee in the search for peace went to Sierra Leone on several occasions. They went to many other African countries, Yamoussoukro, other places, with the hope of bringing peace to Liberia. But I wonder where along the route, did they make a visit to Gambia to form government? I wonder how did they manage to form government as an alternative, being church people, bishops, political bishops, of course, they did this. Though commander-in-chief was on the throne, and the church that's supposed to be preachers of the gospel of Jesus were the one in the background conspiring against a constitutional order. And they saw that order, that new order, as an alternative, as the best way. The IMPFL that I led and I had no responsibility to obey the Constitution, because we felt that the Constitution had been even breached by the President and Commander-in-Chief by killing our people, by entering diplomatic enclaves and massacring people. All we had in mind was to remove that government violently, as it itself believed in violence. And so the government was put together before September 9. I would like for Dr. Sawyer, my former president of the interim, the man I most admire for his philosophical ideas, to come here. Because I heard him once when he took power, when we gave him power on a platter of gold. I heard him say he came as a child of necessity when Doe had died. He did not say he was made president of the interim while Doe was alive before Doe's death. I want him to clarify this. And I want the commissioners to when he come to ask him that, because it's on the record, the book I gave you. The dates are all there. And so Doe was taken to my base, and the interim government was so bothered before Doe's capture. When I signed a truce with Samuel Doe, the interim government was disturbed because ECOWAS countries, I think excluding Togo, was not involved. ECOWAS countries under the auspices of Nigeria put so much money in the bank in the Gambia. I don't know the exact amount, but it will be about $30 million like that, dollars. ECOWAS put so much money in the bank for the interim government to pick up. And that interim government led by Sawyer did not make roads, did not pay salary, did not do anything. I don't know why the money disappeared. You will have to account for that, you must explain. And that money was in the bank in the Gambia. And so they were very disturbed. Every time they would say Liva Zanga, that the Liva Zanga will come to my base from Sierra Leone. He will come from Sierra Leone to my base as if they say, you're just moving from room to room, like short distance. How you some people will do? How you some people will do? You betray us? You betray ECOWAS? I say, wait and see. They were not satisfied until I really grabbed Doe. Then they came with a big jaw, now laughing. We all are involved in the Samuel Doe matter. It should not be blame on one person. We all felt we wanted change, and that we did not need Doe any longer in our midst. In the Gambia, Dawda Jarrara, the president of the Gambia at the time, who controlled ECOMO at the time, encouraged the Liberian to form government. I want you to know this. It was in the Gambia, the ECOWAS chairperson at that time was Dawda Jarrara. It was in his country, the interim government was formed, led by Sawyer. And before they formed that government, the leaders of the West African coast, a few of them met and decided on the proposal presented to them by the Liberian Council of Churches, by other people, political parties, all of these people, whether they need an alternative government. So the heads of state deliberated at the appointed time in August, agreed that they should form a government. Yoweri Museveni of Uganda, President Museveni, he was the OAU chairman. He endorsed the ECOWAS decision for the Liberian to form government in exile. When that endorsement was given by AU or OAU, it was taken to the United Nations Security Council by Pierre de Kola. And Pierre de Kola took it there, and the United Nations endorsed the decision of the African leaders to have Liberian form a government to replace Doe as an authoritative, because Doe was brutal, Doe was oppressive, suppressive, and he was a tyrant. That is what he said. And so, late in August, when they formed that government, AU had approved, UN had approved to form government as an alternative. So when they were organized, they came to Sierra Leone to await the dismiss of Doe. And every day, every 2-3 days, helicopter were flying people here, there, here, there, here, there, here, there. Whether I have betrayed ECOWAS peace plan, whether I have betrayed this and that. But all the meeting, the voting that took place, the churches backed Bishop Ronald Dix. The churches. Bishop Michael Francis was there too. All of them. And my last vote cast made Sawyer the winner. So they came to Liberia after the dismissal of Doe. And inauguration was planned. Sawyer was inaugurated. And during the inauguration, we provided food. We provided the IMPFL youth wing, the dance, the sing. It was complete merriment. Complete the first food that the Sawyer ever ate in the first water when he entered this country from Ezra, it was my house. A few weeks later, they come in looted. I wanted the rest they were eating whether they found me. So we had an inaugural program. And Sawyer, during the inaugural program, I presented to Dr. Sawyer and his government documents containing the shape, the gunboats, weapons, and things. Millions of dollars that don't use to order those things to prosecute the war, and we're not thinking they stop in Senegal. And I turned the documents to him. I turned over to Dr. Sawyer a document concerning 8.7 million American dollars that Doe had in the bank, which he said we should divide. I refused. I turned it over to him. In the presence of Nathaniel Petrie and the governor of the bank. Where is he? Moses, that governor. Vinton, David Vinton. And the woman who had the key to the vault. We never entered that bank. We surrounded the bank, we secured it, and the money was in that bank. And I told them we cannot divide this money to buy weapons. When the Liberian people return, they will need the money. That money, that the Sawyer took it, he did not have any resources under his control. He was just a president interim from Monrovia. And he took huge sums of that money to back the printing of the Liberty Note, which are banned on my base and tailored to ban on his base. It is that money, after using part of the 8.7 million to print the new money, then they use $1 Liberian dollar or $5 Liberian dollar, $5 US, $5 Liberian dollar, $5 US. They had a siphon all the money from the bank, and then he allegedly went to America and bought a house. So they need to account for that money also, and you must also tell the Liberian people there was a legislation in place. The legislation under the interim government was operating. So I wonder why Barrington did not go there to be confirmed. Barrington was not confirmed. Honor Sawyer, who called himself good governor today, for which he is now good governor commission chairperson. Barrington was not confirmed. Yet he signed a legal tender note. Isn't that corruption? And they shared that money among themselves who came from Ezra. They came from Ezra looking lean. All of them were looking lean. So we turn everything over. We were good friends after that. The interim government and I were good friends.
Mr. Witness.
Ona Taylor was not part of the interim government because...
Mr. Witness, I beg your indulgence to please give us 1 minute. Ladies and gentlemen in this hall, especially those up there, if the noise and the disturbance continue, we will adjourn and resume in private. If the noise and disturbance continues, we will adjourn for 1 hour and we will resume in private. There will be no public attendance. We have opened it up so all of us can benefit from the knowledge of the past. And now you are disrespecting the witness, you are disrespecting your fellow citizens here, and you are disrespecting the commission because we did that. If that continues, we will adjourn, and henceforth, these hearings will be by invitation only. So we beg you, please, for the sake of the purpose for which we are here, behave yourself properly and respect us all. We beg you for the last time, please. This is a free, civil, open process. That's why we didn't bring troops all around here to stop some of you from coming or to arrest people or do other things. We have to respect ourselves. If the witness is interrupted again, we'll adjourn immediately. After 1 hour, we'll resume in private. Thank you. Mr. Witness.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And so, where did I stop? Okay, we were good friends. We were very good friends. We used to travel abroad and come back. Very good friends indeed. But then, the political parties in Monrovia were not satisfied. The same people that went to Gambia and made Soya president turn around and say, no, that imported government or data holders. And true enough, 90% of the minister was also PhD. If I call them here, they will laugh, they hear. So PhD. Data club. So they were now clamoring for an all-Liberian conference. So, alas, an all-Liberian conference was agreed upon and was held at Hotel Africa. Before the votes could be cast or nomination could be made, Dr. Sawyer called me to his villa and said, come, Field Marshal. I went there to see him. He said, I want to still maintain the pattern that I brought from Gambia. I said, which pattern? He said, I am the interim president. Ronald Diggs, the bishop, is a vice president to me. So I want you to nominate him. If you nominate him, you brought us here. We believe in your sincerity. You cooperated fully with the ECOWAS peace plan. So you will be the defense minister. You got a speaker position and other position, but you will be the defense minister if you should nominate running this. So I agree. I came out. When I came out during the nomination, I told Bishop this, it was in your church, they massacre my people from Nimba. So go to your church and ask God to forgive your soul, the people's soul. You will never be evaporated here. So I nominated Peter Naga to the annoyance of Emma Sawyer, Dan Sawyer. The relationship between me and Sawyer then, it started getting sour, saying he wanted this, and I took Naga. And even in the Ducal Palace mansion, many things that Dr. Sawyer was doing was done by Joseph Guano. He never ever allowed Peter Naga to come nearer to what he was doing, simply because I nominated him. And then the relationship, like I said, started getting sour. Dongo Yaro came in. When Dongo Yaro came in, the interim government had instigated Dongo Yaro to execute Konatele. So I was the next target. So they were trying to find every means to assassinate me. And so I started taking precautions. But one day I received a call from Dr. Sawyer to come to the Ducal to meet with him. So I said, okay, so I was going to the Ducal. When I got to Vietown, citizens began to run from Monrovia. That is in 1990. 1991, Moses? 1991, that war? 91. Because Sawyer had put him to play a strategic plan to charge me for breach of ceasefire, to have the cause to kill me with the help of Dongo Yaro. So I saw people running from town coming. They said, General, I said, yeah, what happening? What happening? They said, don't go to town. They have put certain group of soldiers, AFL, workers cinema with there. I said, but we all supposed to be in the camp. We all were in camp. If Sawyer had not called me, I won't be going there today. But what really is happening? Then I saw Tom Kamara. I told Tom Kamara, I said, okay, you are coming from Bushra Island, so I said, okay, when you go to the Ducal, please tell Sawyer that he sent for me. But I hear that soldiers are taking position on Broad Street. So what could be happening? Tom Kamara left, he didn't come back. Then I sent one squad with arm. We were in camp, we were not disarmed. So I sent one squad, and they opened fire on the squad. I sent one platoon, fighting started. Then I sent 3 battalions in town. My men were in town when the American ambassador called me and said, tell your men to disarm. We understand what is going on. We are told both parties to cease fire. We are told Sawyer to stop. We told Dongo Yaro to stop. Tell all your men to bring their guns here. Those of you can control. So we submitted our arms to the American embassy, and they gave everything to ECOMO. The ones that went to BDC, ECOMO killed all of them. The group that they caught slavery here, they put them in a container. This new market the president opened right when you cross the bridge. The container was there. That was a I think car park for the trucks. They put them in a container. One Nigerian soldier they call Hurricane. He got his own name called Colonel Patrick. He put my men in a container and set RPG and burned them to death. Within that time, he made Cassidy defense minister. Because I didn't do what he told me, so he made Cassidy defense minister. We made formal complaint to the American embassy on how Sawyer killed our people and dumped them on the sea, and their bodies started floating to West Point. And Dr. Sawyer appointed Cassidy, may his soul rest in peace, and Gabriel Fangalo also, may his soul rest in peace, to investigate the massacre of our people. Our people brought Sawyer, and he ordered peacekeeping force to kill them. In a letter, he said, Commander-in-Chief. I'm sorry, I don't have that letter today. But they burned them to death there after sending RPG on the container. The investigation we called for was never held. They grabbed my men, they put them in jail, humiliated them. I wrote the American ambassador again, who appealed to the RCRC to tell ECOMO to release them from jail. My chief of staff all were in jail. We did not breach ceasefire. That ceasefire was designed as phantom coups are designed to eliminate people you don't want to see, so that ceasefire, that breach of ceasefire was designed by Amos Sawyer to kill my people and get rid of me. By that time, as I speak to you, they have blocked the Carway Bridge. The Carway Bridge. They blocked everywhere, no way for me because I was all the way in town. But Sawyer don't know God. God is great. How I left Monrovia to build my base. I called him for my base. Everywhere was black with tanks. But I called Dongayaro and Amos Sawyer and said, I'm back on base. They didn't know how I got there because the troop was stationed right to Carway Bridge. They don't know. They don't know. So I told Dongayaro to stop. It's not a war against me, and I'm on the base. And release all my people. So that investigation, Honorable Chairman, Commissioners, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, was never held because Gabriel Fangalo declined. He said, you sent for me to come and my own son, Prince Johnson, and you making trouble. He is telling you that you care people, I'm going to come investigate. So Gabriel Fangalo declined. He went back to the States. Then Sawyer had in the so-called Duka Mansion the Watchman Committee, a group of old men, PhD holders, they call Watchmen. They got a cabinet ministers, then you got a group of people called Watchmen. That people know plenty book, plenty wisdom. So I wrote them a letter, 12 counts point. I said, we put you here with our blood to bring peace. You created many factions. You were here for 6 months. If the 6 months finish, revert to another conference to get a new mandate. But you just creating trouble here, trouble there, just for you to stay. And my understanding, you see, Taylor was hiding many things from us. I saw on the paper you were Secretary General of the MPFL. That Taylor didn't show up, but Barbara, no Harry Moniba showed me that paper in Sierra Leone, where I saw names who was supporting Taylor. Then you, if it was true that you were supporting Taylor from what I saw, then Taylor would not succumb to you to surrender to you. You must come down. So later say he's driving for treason. I say, can't catch you on base. Can't catch me. I'm telling you, resign. Because you were Taylor boy or Taylor a partner. He cannot disarm to you if you remain interim president because agree for power the things free. You ran for Senate mayor. Kuku Hatton defeated you. Now you get interim president, say too sweet now. You want more again, you're prolonging war with the brother people. So I wrote a 12-count point to the Watchman Committee. The Watchman Committee came to visit my base. When I wrote the letter, they wrote me back, they said 2 weeks, in 2 weeks' time, the president will reply you. We will bring you and the president together, Amos Sawyer together, and this issue will be resolved amicably. I was glad. But 2 weeks' time, at the end of the 2 weeks, the so-called Watchmen collected one another. They came to my base. And they said, the president is now prepared to receive you. We got there, I saw Dongayaro, I saw Dr. Amos Sawyer, and we all took seats. I saw Amos Sawyer moving back forward and went up in a room. He never sat with us. What the Watchmen did was, all the 11 counts I leveled against Dr. Sawyer, they had the 11 answers already prepared by Sawyer and given to them. Well, if you already have answered these questions, these allegations, these complaints, 12 complaints, 12 answers, then why did you have to call me to come to Duko? Why didn't I stay on the bay you sent to me? They asked me to leave my bay to go to Duko. Only General Johnson, your complaint number 1, Then the guy said, General Johnson, your complaint number 1, yes, sir, answer. Complaint number 2, sir, answer. So they were reading my complaint, sir, answer. So I said, yeah, thank you. Oh, word for truth. Thank you very much. Oh, I shook the hand. Then I saluted Dr. Yaro. I said, look, you people are very wise, very good people. I mean, for Sawyer to take his time to answer all my questions, I never expected. Oh, God bless you. You're coming back to the base. They were not wise. If they were wise as they claim to be, they will not take me to my base. And we got to the base. We got to the base. I called them in my big office. While we were in my big office, I told my base commander, prepare me a platoon plus of men. And I offered them food, palm butter rice, GB. We ate. And I just called the commander. I said, tie all the brokers. Tie them. Tie them. They came and people, and I bring matter before you, then you can't do that kind of rascalting because it's a wise man. So I tied these people here. Among them was one pastor. I'm sorry, God forgive me. And I told the pastor, you made yourself wise man, or who made it? I saw him. I said, okay, you go. So I locked them up. You know the Bacardi gin? Each wise man one cartoon. I said, you will drink that here, you bishop, you get 2. You will drink. I said, you will drink because you are rascal. We suffer in this country. We lost men. My mother was killed in the combat. My whole village was burned down. I mean, we will give you job, sweet job, power is sweet. We give it to you, then you got full here. You will drink. If you don't drink, I will kill all of you. So after 2 days, I went, many of them tried to drink, so I said, okay. So I told the base commander, dig big grave, mass grave. Let them see you digging the grave. If you don't drink one, I finish with them. So I decided to drink. But I forgave them because I didn't want the wise men to die my care. I just wanted to shake them all the corruption I go. And I don't play with soldiers. Don't play with soldiers. So I shook them all very fine. And they were in jail. Then after a week, 2 weeks, there was a football game at the Anthony Thomas Stadium. I saw Dr. Peter Naga coming with J. Kabalon Kalon, what is his name? Kabalu Kalon? Jabalu Kalon. I said, Dad, I was referring to Peter Naga. I said, what are you doing here? He said that the Kalon said, we want to see you. So I was thinking in my mind that Kalon was coming to beg me for the people in jail because the minister of youth and sports. I mean, truly, if you come to beg me, I would think twice and release enough for a particular day. But he came to tell me that there was a football game that was being played at the Tottenham Stadium and he wanted me to go there. So I said, oh, but are you aware that the wise men committee is in jail, the people in jail? He said, yeah. I said, so their business that don't concern you, the football game to take me to stadium so you can capture me because the football game, the football field near the AFL. So I'm going to go to capture me. So since you're not concerned about the wise men in jail, go join them. So that was that the Kalon was picked out and detained for 2 weeks. And at the end of the day, the peacekeepers tried to beg me. I refused because though we were not on good terms, but what can you do to them until the American embassy intervened and I had to free them. And I told them never again to play with soldier men who suffer for the country. You can't fool me like that. People die and the matter to investigate was never done. I refer matter to you only to trick me this kind of way. So those people were detained. After 2 weeks, they were set free. Then we started doing our normal work. We had thousands and thousands and thousands of bags of rice. Though had brought in consignment for his troops. And when we took the free port, those rice could feed the public. So as we were dividing the rice with instruction, specific instruction, no sale, not for sale. If you sell to make money, I must tell you, you die. It's free. If I wanted to be rich, I would sell the rice, I would be a millionaire. But it's free. And so, one day, I came from out, I saw the crowd right before the Allied Force building where we used to gather. My deputy, may he still rest in peace, General Vani, was there with a group of people with the apron, Red Cross apron, RCRC, I think Red Cross apron. And there was a fellow there they called the council RAMAH, and a white guy. They had come earlier when we were in town and taken one truck of food out to unknown destination. We're fighting guerrilla warfare. And I know that the Red Cross in Liberia had closed long before the war entered Monrovia. So where the Red Cross come from? Red Cross had closed. RCRC was not in Monrovia when we entered. So they were selling the food. So while Vani was questioning him, I had just arrived. Vani saw blood coming from the man's butt. He said, "You're tearing your clothes." The man anus ratting. You know, they say he was a homosexualist. So Vani shot him. It was Vani who shot the council robbers. And I put the white man in my car and took him to the U.S. Embassy and turned him over. Nobody killed the man. It was General Vani who shot him. It was public. There's a fellow who wrote the book. He was with us on some occasions. Ubuti. He published one book the other time. James Ubuti. Yeah, he was there. He saw that. So I dedicate the council robbers. But we rescued so many government officials because our aim was to remove the system and not to go on killing people. So we gave safe haven to Frebley. We gave safe haven to Roosevelt Service. Peter Naga was arrested by some of my soldiers who joined us from Monrovia. They had laid Peter Naga down on the bare ground to cut his throat because they said, "Well, minister, up to the time we came." And then one soldier said, "No, if you shoot this man, they call this man to our hotel papi." Because I told them, any American government official will all receive. In fact, bring them to me. So Peter Naga was saved because of the instruction I gave. Don't kill government officials. Let them come to us, except for those who will betray us. So that Africula, Serena Ford, there were so many that surrounded to us. David Vinton, the bank governor, Nathaniel Petre, Charles Green, James Green. If I name them, it's a book. They were with me. And Fairplay was giving Hotel Africa to stay, including service. At that time, though, I'm not being captured. Because this is where I left, I jumped to do capture. So I'm coming back to it. So he was caught communicating with Doe, Fairplay, and service. That was 2 weeks after we get safe haven. When they brought them to me as evidence, the Motorola, small, short like this, it was on the same channel. They did not remove it from channel. So the brother said, "Chief, we caught Fairplay and service, communicating with Doe, locating our position, discussing with him, hear the radio." So I took the radio from them And then Doe answered. Doe were calling Frebley. I said, Commander-in-Chief, it is not Frebley, it is Field Marshal Prince Johnson. Those people have been captured. So I said, Frebley, I admire you, you are in shuffling, a disciplinarian, you and Sandy were then, they were very straight people, very correct. That is why when they brought you from town to me, I said, go. I gave you food, I gave you car. But they don't say you are defending you in my area, do on our side. And you communicating with Doe, and it's evident by this call that Doe made. So you betray my revolution, execution. We are here to tell the truth. So I took them to Negro Town. I called Savo people, Fred people. I said, hey, I freedom, you need to see them moving here. So I said, you betray us. Here a radio. That is how they were executed. Larry Botter, in Sarana, we will see Larry Botter because he myself joined 1974. So when I saw him, I was happy. But I don't know that Larry Botter had planned before to overthrow Doe when he brought Professor Sierra Leone, the medicine people. That's over here. But when I embraced him again, vehicle, food, and he had his own bodyguards. He started having secret meeting in the night because he ran my boat and said the gun and liberation should not rule, that I don't want to be president, and he saw that as his occasion to become president by moving a group from my mama group to stage another revolution with him and group. That was 1 month after we had embraced him and we were moving free. So we had no place for traitor. So he was tried by the tribunal I established and he was executed. So we left here. My people could not go to Greater Liberia, but Greater Liberia people could come to us and we accommodate them. We try to make peace with Taylor people, with whoever, because many of my people from that side and their parents were there. Oftentimes when they went there, when the Southerners were between me and Taylor, they would kill them. So I tried to modify myself by making peace. So the ECOMO came to me, they took me to Boyne, and they brought Boyne to me, and they brought AFL, and they took some of our people to the side. That was the peace I'm talking about, trying to make peace from all uncles. So that situation was prevailing. But what I want to touch here is that Dr. Sawyer was very ungrateful to us. Very ungrateful. When he printed the Liberty money, when they go to, when you know they had OO Tesla they used to drive around, when they make the money to go change it to the new note, they will seize it from there and say, where were you working before? Bring your ID card. You're the killer here. That time you used to see AFL soldiers walking freely in the street with all guns. You won't take uniform from there. As soon as my men come to town with uniform, no gun, he will order the ECOMO, they will grab them and put them in the container. Suffer them. They were suffering, my boys. So one day I saw the group in front of my house on the base, led by General Vanney. They said, we have come to tell you that your, short people get bad. That's all you brought. If you don't want to be president today, then we will fire you. They brought $1 to me and said, today, declare yourself president. I said, but you say Sawyer Bao, I can see myself, but we already put him there. And we now power the boat, the gun and liberation now rule. And we support the ECOWAS peace plan. I told the whole world I don't want to be president. It's always good to wait for your time. And nobody here can be president if you go through ballot box. No broke man should determine the tune here. Because the both part of the country too. The tune should be determined by the electorates. When they vote you, you are president, that's all. That's what we're looking for here. So when that time comes in the future, when God desires it, I can take it. But not now. They impressed on me. I said, okay, Kano. We get 21 guns to Sawyer here. You're shooting. The fire, 20 gun go. I stand up, me a president now. So I stood. stood. So they were giving me 21 gun salute now. Because the whole barracks were against me. If I don't become president, I should become president, because to replace Sawyer, that Sawyer not good. In fact, when Sawyer came on the bay with Dongayaro to greet me one occasion, they left us there, Vanny led one battalion. They were shooting the black the whole row. They wanted to catch Sawyer. And I said, don't bring trouble to me. I sent people to bring Vanny by force. And we dispersed the crowd. So you come again and say, yeah, $1 for you. If you don't declare yourself president, to do that trouble. I said, okay, I shoot it on one gun. They fired the gun, they fired the gun, they fired the gun. 21 refused. They tried everything, no way. So I said, okay. Now, as I was standing, you fire, 20 went off. One refused. Now let me move. When I move, the thing, pow! And the gun went not 40. It's not time. So please let Sawyer be the president. They say, but Sawyer is giving us hard time. He sent an ECOMO, they seizing the car, when they go to the bank to change the small money, he do this, he printed money, he thinking that we store money now. We keep the bank, we're getting $8.7 million, he now using to buy house in America, he enjoy himself, the man who can dry and looking like fat now, the bamboo warrior, then he's suffering house. If you don't, they may don't know for him, we'll go to church to them. That was how my men then joined together. The auto post in which my men then joined, it was forced upon them by Sawyer. You know, most politicians, politics is an act of governance. But some people, they get bad condition in them that they don't know how to rule. You know, Harley Lima, when Rollins took over and said 3 months, I turn over, he turned over. Harley Lima never rested until he put Rollins in jail back, because he was not comfortable with him. When I moved though and put Sawyer was not comfortable with me, he created BlackBerry. At a certain point in time, he was still comfortable with BlackBerry. He dissolved BlackBerry for other fashion. Yeah, join me here, there, join me here, there. Playing game with people's lives. The many thousands that fled the country, they didn't matter to Sawyer. When any tower quit, they go to America. When conditions subside, they come. So this was the kind of condition. We fought, like I said, for reasons. But for you to look at us as a troublemaker, and for me to move from here, if I didn't want to go to Nigeria, if I wanted to stay, I would have stayed. Because Leo were not fighting me, Ulimo were not fighting me. Before Ulimo was organized in Sierra Leone, wherever they named the other day, Peter Naga and this Kroma, they came to my office on Bushra Island. Peter Naga and Alehali Kroma, he's listening to me. They came to my office. He said, Johnson, I'm organizing Ulimo to fight Taylor, not you. He said, because we're tired of war and the men perpetuating this war. He informed me. AFL were not interested in fighting again with me. LPC were not fighting me. They want to get Taylor out. So, LPC fought for Rishi to get the dictator out. Ulimo fought for Rishi to get Taylor out. And when the politicians saw the powerful force of Ulimo, they brought division among them. Ulimo K, Ulimo J. We should stop the dirty propaganda they see in the country. We should stop. Those people who are here, this country is so sweet. Though we don't have money, but we are rich with resources. The war we fought, what we've been through, we don't want to see a happy year anymore. So we need to reconcile. But in our bid to reconcile, if the secret agenda is to establish a tribunal, war crime tribunal, then you will plunge the nation back into chaos. Because no one of you free here. Nobody free. You start catching 1, 2, 3 people on the ground. South Africa did it successfully after Charlesville massacre, Soweto. You see any white man in jail for crime there? Sierra Leone, apart from the UN court, you only have TRC in Sierra Leone, local TRC. I wonder how many people they try and beside those who are facing the UN court. Nobody free. So for people to begin calling people, let us treat each other with respect and dignity. Get jobs to the person who practically know the job, not holding degree. Everywhere go to CV. People buying degrees. During the campaign in Ganta, 2 master holders from United Party faced me in debate. I flogged them. And the man is practically if he's a mechanical engineer. Give it to him. He may not have paper. But the CV business leaving many people under. Who is responsible for educating people? Your government. If the past governments cheated our people that for which the literacy rate is so high, then those of us on board today should not prioritize CV as a means to employ people. If a driver can drive very well, and you have been driving 30 years, 20 years, getting a job, helping to get a lesson. And let us create more jobs. Because a jobless nation, a nation where half of its people get no jobs, is difficult to survive. It's difficult to survive. How will you feed your children? How will you take care of your other needs? And something that has been drawn to my attention that we've always been against, for which that matter constituted reasons why, one of the reasons why we had to fight. Apart from that, is also part of suppression. Sacking people under that new brain design terminology. Dancers. Then who are you obsessing? We should promote this government by encouraging the president, holding on with her to provide more jobs. When some ministers are appointed, they get to the ministry, they start sacking the people who were there before. Say, not qualified. If you move the people from that ministry, if you're not replacing them, or you never replace them, then there should be dividends. We should not be crying with no money. The thousands of people that were dancers or sacked, if we do not replace them with people who we believe supported us to get to where we are, there should be dividends. But they require money, no money. And we should encourage the president has a positive idea. But those who are around are blocking things from happening. For instance, the rice market is not open. The cement market is not open. The gasoline market is not open. In Nigeria, after the Civil War, the Biafran guys and they control electronics. They control many things. They're able to build houses on their own. They have decent families. They can feed their families. If a ex-soldier can feed his family 3 times a day, if he can hustle money easily and get it from work he's doing, you have no problem here. You have no problem. But the mentality that when a man got no job, he got nothing, then he's feeble, he weak, he can't do nothing. That's a wicked way there. We should stop it. I'm finished now in myself, so I'm talking about the way forward. But if there's any question regarding what I did not talk, I came here purposely not to waste your time, but to state my role. And you can notice that all of what I have said here was written in my memoir, which copy I sold to people when I was selling them those days. So everything I said orally is all there. But if there's anything that I left out, that I did not touch that you know you need to ask. You are free. I didn't come in with other people to start talking about our boy in Goma play. 19 this one. My way is so. No, I came to hear the point. And so those are the things that I see can move us forward. Concerning the last thing is, I know you want to ask about Doe. I told you already all what happened in the capture of Doe. You want to know where Doe is. That is a question that needs answer. And I think everybody will want to know where Doe is. After the many years of war and peace time now, I don't think I will be having Doe kept in the cover. I don't think that Doe will be somewhere in Nimbat, hidden somewhere. After the dismass of Doe, he was buried on the base, and we had the inscription, Samekanya Doe, Bonsoso, Dasido Soso, and Lone Sama, Commanding General. Two things happened. When I was here, one happened. When I left the country, another happened. If I had Doe somewhere like a high secure, I would have told Jackson Doe, let's go there. Because if the man wants his body, why will you keep it? What will you do with the body? But while we were here, that the Sawyer and a group of Moja propagandists, propaganda group, they were writing all sorts of papers. I'm a cannibal. That I ate Doe. That Doe got no grave because we chop him and we ate him. So some foreign journalists came to me and asked me all these questions. And I called my base commander to take the caterpillar to take them to the grave. They went to the grave, they took the picture, but they were not still setting. You could have different things in the grave and different inscription. So I asked them to bust the grave and to bring the body up. The body of Doe was as high as a rock. Doe was in bound for 25 years. That's Amici. All the chemical he had, as he put it there. And they bust the grave and they dug it. And we brought the body down. And they took a picture. So I asked that they should take him and bury him back. And General Vani and my deputy said no. One man can't get two graves. So they cremated him. They burned him, burned the body to ashes, and threw him in the river. That's it. So to this end, I have come to the end of my narration. I was not in politics, so I never dive into political issues. I dive into the crisis and my involvement. I touched what I consider major issues. And I would like to say, in closing, as I started earlier, it's good to reconcile. Liberia is the only country we have. We must try to swallow bitter pills, chloroquine, because it can help you to cure your malaria. Let us not open wounds. What I said today, I never told Jackson Doe. I just been dodging what happened to Doe. But as you come to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, you must say exactly what you know. And that's what I have done. I'm on an oath. I'm not like before, I'm an evangelist. I'm a administrator. Yes, certainly. Yes. You know, sometimes people laugh. But you know, Paul, you know who he was? A persecutor of the church. And you know, Moses was a murderer. When you fight war, you kill. Moses was a murderer, but he became a leader. So don't take people by the past. From the day I knew God fully in Nigeria and I got ordained as an evangelist, my past is over. And to the extent that people who thought I won't stay a week or month in the Liberian Senate, I would be aggressive, they are disappointed. And when you read rubbish in the paper, Prince didn't want to be his colleague. The man was telling me that he opened the book. I said, well, your degree, I can beat you. Let's go for test. Then it's not writing different thing. You don't do that. So I want to say to all of you, Honorable Vodia, your commissioners, distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Liberians, all the NIMA people who left last night came this morning, the commissioner, the parliament chiefs, former members of the disbanded IMPFL and all great revolutionaries, La Model, LPC, who made this day possible for us to live, to stand here. God first, second you. If you hadn't moved the monster, the devil from here, the man who wanted me to stay in exile and die, I won't stand before you to speak. I come to the end of my narration. Thank you. No, I don't know.
Silence, please.
No, if I will tell you. I'll let you know.
Shall we have it? Shall we have it quiet, please? Mr. Witness, we want to thank you very much for coming before this commission and speaking to matters that lie within your certain knowledge in respect to your role, your experiences, and what transpired during our conflict period from 1985 to 1992. We thank you very much for your presentation. We take note of your recommendations to the Commission and the series of events that occurred during that period and your narration of how they happened, why they happened, constituting the truth of what transpired. We are convinced you have added value to our work, and at this time, commissioners will ask some questions so that maybe if there are things they want clarification on, or there are other events and matters you didn't touch on, they could bring it up. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman.
Commissioner Connett.
Thank you very much, Senator Prince Y. Johnson, for appearance before us today to give your testimony in a very calm atmosphere so as to give us the opportunity to hear and know what really took place during the war. And we want also, perhaps on behalf of the TRC, to express our thanks and appreciation to the chiefs, the elders, and citizens who thought it wise to be present here today in hearing their son, their brothers, and their father. We know from here, each and every one of you will serve as goodwill ambassador for the TRC, that the work of the TRC is to fetch the truth. And when the truth is fetched, to decide how to reconcile it That reconciliation can either be restorative justice or retributive justice, depending the condition of the situation. So this commission is not here to hunt anybody, but is here to listen to people and to hear. And I know citizens of Liberia and even foreign friends who are here, please take this message to the other people. Mr. Witness, in your testimony, you give out a line out how you people left here to Libya, and you called many names. My question was, Benjamin Yetin among the first group or the group that went to Libya? Was he part of it?
Yes, sir, he was. He was.
And you also said that before you enter on the territorial soil of Liberia, you drew up, in your own language, you said, we drew up guidelines that will govern, control the activities of the soldiers, both in the bushes and the towns. Now the question is, who is the we?
You see, in the revolution, you don't say I, you say we. The leaders of the revolution drew out guidelines to govern the activity of our men in combat. I didn't do it by myself. It has to be a consensus by the leadership and all other, the leadership include the commander himself, that's me, and other sub-commanders.
But were you part and parcel of that?
I was.
Okay.
At the time I had broken away, I had to draw these guidelines in consultation with the leadership of my revolution, so that we all agreed upon it, and then not to be imposed, but something that was generally acceptable by all of us.
Who led the group, the troop, to Liberia?
Well, we added, from Butu added, and in Tapley I broke away, so I had a separate group from Tapley.
You know what I'm talking about? You talk about the rules, we understand that, but the group that entered the territorial jurisdiction of Liberia.
No, actually, I said earlier that when the Sierra Leone route was blocked because of President Momo's behavior, after having order to be beating Mr. Taylor, we decided on another option to pass through Cote d'Ivoire. And this time around, Taylor told us that he had dispatched weapons across the border. And when we crossed as one unit, that time we were all one, MPFL. When we crossed, we couldn't find weapons. So the rest of the guys went back, and the few who wanted to follow me. It is that few that followed me and myself that carry on more recruitment of Liberians on the soil, and I led them. Taylor was now on his own. Benjamin Yetin now were on his own with Taylor. They were not when I broke away.
Did your rule provide any provision that in case of disagreement, discontent, how such disagreement, discontent can be resolved?
You mean discontentment amongst the troops of mine?
Before the formation of Independent National Patriotic Party.
Oh, before then, when we were one, we make sure that we refer matter to the leadership. Whoever did what, we refer to the leadership. We never took unilateral action on our own. It was not until I became a leader of my own group.
When? Where?
That's in Tapley. That's in early...
Now let me conclude my question. I'm asking when, where, and why an independent National Patriotic Front was established.
Are you true, sir?
Yes, sir.
Well, it was in Tapley where we decided to break away from the main group, MPFL, and we broke away entirely. We named our group the Independent National Patriotic Front of Liberia because we didn't want to completely do away with the name Kwangba brought. We wanted to maintain the name, but MPFL Honor Taylor, I had to change. I had to modify a little bit by putting the I, so they can know the difference between MPFL Honor Taylor and my group.
What was the leadership structure of the INPFL look like?
Well, we had the commander-in-chief, that's Prince Johnson. We had Samuel Vani, deputy. We had, along the line, battalion commanders, company commanders, the captain, platoon leaders, lieutenants, and of course the fourth platoon leader was first lieutenant, and so forth. We had the G2, the G3, the G1 for personnel, the G2 for intelligence, G3 for training and planning, and so forth.
You also talk about your contact with the late President Doe, and you mentioned the name of one Salif Thompson. Who was this Salif Thompson? How did you get to know him? When did you know him?
Well, I didn't know Salif Thompson much before the war, but his coming to meet me in 1990 when I had taken over Bushwa Island, that meeting was initiated by a diplomatic institution. Now I got to know him.
During your general testimony, you talk about Freble and Podia. We know these people to be of military oriented. And you said that they were tried by a tribunal set up by INPFL. Can you tell us what was the composition of this tribunal, and who were the presiding chairman?
We had a presiding chairperson, and sir, these people in question were military men who were not part and parcel of our group, but we extended only leave to them who later betrayed us. And when you betray a revolution, then you must face a penalty. And so they faced a penalty. So as to what the composition was, it consisted of the judge and other relevant officers to carry out the court-martial.
Who was the presiding person?
He's dead now.
He's dead. But can you give history?
General Vani was presiding.
General Vani.
Because I was always to the front. So he presided over with his deputy and court of officers, court-martial.
Talking about the formation of IGNU, you said you were instrumental in the formation or the arrival of the interim government into Liberia. Can you tell us how you were instrumental in both the formation and the arrival of the IGNU here?
So I had to be. In the first place, I controlled Central Monrovia, including Duko. There was no way for that government to have come here if I didn't give my indulgence, if I didn't participate. In the Gambia, we were there in full, and we went purposely in support of Dr. Sawyer, and our last vote brought him to power. So even casting our vote for him is being very much pivotal in getting him here. That's the role we play.
Yeah, you have talked about the arrival, but I'm talking about the formation. Were your organization fully represented at Banjul, and they participated in the formation?
The interim government, sir?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was given the speakership position. In fact, I sent Noah Butler to be the speaker, and Dr. Peter Naga became the vice president. I was given the youth and sports ministry, and so forth.
No, I'm talking about representation. Those are the end results of the formation. But before forming the interim government, whether INPFL was represented at Banjul.
That's what I'm saying, sir.
Yeah.
We were in the Banjul. I sent my spokesman, Noah Butler, with specific instruction to vote for Sawyer. And we were fully represented. We sent other colleagues of ours from our group. We were there.
So it means you were part and parcel of the formation of the interim government, and therefore if there's any credit or debit, you have equal share in that.
Well, sir, I beg to differ from that. You have a leader stubborn who could not listen, and that's why we pull all of the interim government. Though I was part and parcel of his formation, but the latter day that the Sawyer could not listen. In fact, he began to marginalize us, and then printing money with all the nation's approval. The money was not approved by the national legislature, and the signatory to the money on the money was put there by Dr. Barrontar, who was not confirmed by the legislature. So I think it's economic crime. So I asked my people to pull out.
Yeah, that was disagreement.
Yeah, that was brought a disagreement.
After the formation of the...
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you also take part in the national conference?
Yes, sir. The All Liberian Conference. I said that in my narration. I took part at the time when it was during the time when Dr. Sawyer had appealed to me to re-nominate Bishop Ronald Dix. And I agree with him, but on the contrary, I did a different thing by nominating Peter Naga, which annoyed him.
You talk about the Wise Men Committee. Was this Wise Men Committee part and parcel of the TLA, or were they ordinary citizens that get together as Wise Men?
Your Honor, I really can't say why he kept these men in the mansion and called them Wise Men. He gave them the name. He gave them the name, and I think they were doing some specific duties for him, and that's why he called them Wise Men. I never heard of a group in this country since I was born called Wise Men, exclusive group in the presidency that the president consults in doing whatever he wanted to do. They were there.
Today, you as senator, responsible for making rules and regulations to promote, foster, nurture, and sustain democracy and human rights, what will you say today from where you sit as to the way you treated the Wise Men Committee was within the scope of human rights and democracy?
Well, you see, sir, lives were taken by people who should be keeping peace. My men were slaughtered in cold blood by peacekeepers under the order of Dr. Sawyer. Hundreds of men were packed up in a container and burned to death. And the Wise Men didn't move on the right footing. So what I did, I had no remorse. I had no remorse. If they had documents to give me in answers to my allegations or complaints, they would have sent it to me on the base. Rather than moving me from my bed to the mansion, Ducal mansion, to only begin to read, answer, and think. So I punished them the way I thought it would be better. Thank God that they even live. Because with the death of my great men in combat, I was confused. I would have done anything to them. But I calmed myself down and I said, well, the only thing they would do is to drink to get more water.
As a well-trained military personnel, what was the rationale behind you deciding or allowing the capture, the trial, and the death of the late President Doe to be on camera?
Sir, I forgot to bring it. I have a video clip. It used to be all on the market here. When Turbo was brutal in his pajamas, it was televised. That's why it's on tape. When Kwangba was, Ada told the son appeals, I don't think they killed him, whatever happened. They exhibited Kwangba body, cutting him to pieces and sharing the parts. So, what they did to Turbo, they did to Kwangba, and what they did to Kwangba happened to Doe. Everything that happened to Tabata was on camera. When they put the 13 people, all people like that, killed them and put them in mass grave, it was on camera. If you didn't, I have it. I thought it was him and Bell. I was going to give it to you because I brought it to as an exhibit to give you. It's home. When those say, you leave your country, I will finish everybody. I will turn them out to dust. I could not allow that to happen with my tactical training in me. I couldn't.
You said, taking you back, that you people traveled to Libya for training. How long did you remain